Vince Ross is a highly regarded Aboriginal Elder who was voted the NAIDOC Aboriginal Elder of the Year in 2006. Originally trained as a motor mechanic, Vince is now a retired minister in the Uniting Church. He established the highly successful Narana, the award-winning Aboriginal cultural centre near Victoria's Surf Coast at Grove Dale. Narana has been hailed for its work giving Indigenous people a chance to be self-sufficient.
Vince, it's been 10 years since All of Us was published. What's changed in Australia, do you think, in the last 10 years?
I think there's more people are saying, you know, what can we actually do to make this nation a better nation? Indigenous, non-Indigenous, no matter, you know. We're a very multicultural nation, so we need people to be working together. You know, in that 10 years ago when we did that book that was put out, you know, all of us, I think I like that because that includes you and me and all of us, doesn't it? It's and what can we do together? I think there's sometimes we just tend to isolate people out too much. You know, say, oh, that's Indigenous or that's multicultural, and that's fine. I think we do belong to these different groups. I think first of all we've got to acknowledge what is our history in this country. What is the true history? A lot of people talk BC, before Christ. We talk BCC, before Captain Cook. So, you know what I mean, like, what is the history? We have the history here, and I think it's important because I don't believe that this nation is going to really develop into a really positive, thriving nation if we're going to continue to ignore what is our cultural heritage.
What's the next 10 years hold, do you think, for the whole idea of cultural diversity in Australia?
I think what's happening to our nation now is that people are learning and understanding things, so we're not going back, we're going forward, okay? We're addressing issues sometimes are a little bit tough, but I think we've got, you know, within government and local government and people, groups of people that have some power and authority to bring about change and all that, they're actually moving forward. They're actually, they've caught the vision of we can go on and do this. I get a little bit impatient sometimes with, you know, I'm very visionary about stuff and I can see where it can happen. And as I've travelled around Australia, I've noticed with some of our communities, you know, they're just a little bit slow getting off the mark or whatever, but you have to come alongside of people and you have to wait for them when they're ready to move, you know, like we don't all move at the same pace. We don't all do the same sorts of things, do we? Sort of stuff. So we have to be patient in how do we actually, but we need to take people along on the journey.
Well, just following on from that, I mean, what are the roadblocks, do you think?
You know, we often say that, you know, white Australia has a very strong black history. And when we start to understand that, and those who were born in this country or come to live here, then you come to live in Aboriginal country. Like if you visit overseas, you go to that particular country. It's the same here in Australia. And we've still got some people that don't want to move that way, but that's not going to stop us from believing that you and I can talk and move forward together because of our commitment and passion for building this nation.
You know, you survived that stolen generation. You didn't get stolen, I don't think, but you were close to it.
We were close by.
Yeah, but you lived through it, you saw it.
Yeah.
How did that inform all the things that you've done now? Did that have an impact on how you began to think about what was needed in Australia?
One of the things that I'm very grateful for, that I had a mother who said that we weren't second-class citizens. But I did say to my mother one day, I'd like to have a look at first class, Mum. And the interesting thing was that she was a very strong believer that we could do it. I grew up on part of a reserve up in New South Wales, and you know, I think growing up in that place and many of the people around us, we had nothing, but we had each other and we had some other sort of strength within ourselves that we were going forward.
So do you think that your experiences as a child have given you any additional empathy for the kinds of people who've come here as refugees?
Yeah, there's stuff that's really sad and it's appalling, and you can use all the words you want to use in relation to that. And every time I see some of the marginalised people, those people within detention centres and that tears my heart.
What do you think Australia's going to look like in 2028?
I would like to think that we certainly be certainly a lot wiser than we are if we continue to grow and develop people. The nation, you know, I sort of got this this belief that Australia should be really leading the world, you know, because I reckon we've got so much here. I think there's so many opportunities presenting themselves to us, and people who come to this country, they see it. And they, you know, it's interesting when people even visit this place here. They say there's something wonderful about this, the spirit of this place. You know, it is the Indigenous spirit in this land that I think a lot of people haven't really fully appreciated it. But people who come here, visit us, they say there's something really special here. How do we continue to grow that and grow that, each of us grow in our own lives, and that understanding of what that cultural part of this, the history of this country is. And I think once we fully get into the grips of that, I think you'll see this nation even become even bigger and greater and better than it is. And that's what we've got to do. We've got a job to do. Get all of us together, mate. Keep us together. Don't separate us, keep us together, what we can do. But one of our dear old elders here, Auntie Betty Pike in Geelong, left a beautiful Australian blessing. I want to leave it with you guys. She says, may you always stand tall as a tree, be as strong as the rock Uluru, as still and gentle as the morning mist, hold the warmth of the campfire in your heart, and may the Creator Spirit always walk with you. Thank you very much.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Mate. Thank you.